The Prophet Muhammad is the ultimate false prophet. Let's talk about that today.
Why is Muhammad such an easy target for us? According to me, it's because Muhammad was the most obvious false prophet in history. According to Robert, it's because the people inventing Muhammad for their new religion made him sound like the most obvious false prophet in history, when they could have made him sound like absolutely anything they wanted. The most reliable, most trustworthy, most miraculous person who've ever walked the planet. Instead, they come up with a guy who thought he was demon-possessed, repeatedly tried to commit suicide, delivered revelations from Satan, was a victim of a magic spell, delivered false prophecies, accepted a meal prepared by a woman whose family had just slaughtered, dying like a rat, and being completely exposed as a false prophet. It just doesn't make sense. When we look at the Muslim sources, we learn that the prophet married more women and girls than his own revelations allowed, married the wife of his own adopted son after causing the divorce by lusting after her, loved sucking on the tongues of little boys, was constantly covered in semen, and left us with a pretty good idea of where that semen came from, and he died in exactly the way the Quran said he would die if he was a false prophet. That's what they came up with. A Jewish woman offers to cook Muhammad a meal, even though he just slaughtered her entire family. There are about 8 billion people in the world. You could ask all 8 billion people, if you just slaughtered a woman's entire family and she says, hey, I'd like to cook dinner for you, is that a good idea to accept that offer? 8 billion out of 8 billion people will say that is the dumbest idea ever. Do not do that. Muhammad is the one exception in all of history who thought, gee, this is a great plan. The poison ate away at Muhammad's internal organs and he died in horrible agony. Because look at what Muhammad said when he was dying. I continued to feel pain from the morsel which I had eaten at Khaybar. This is the time when it has cut off my aorta. Why is that a strange detail to invent if you're making up stories about Muhammad? Because according to the Quran, that's exactly how Muhammad was told he would die if he was a false prophet. Surah 69, verses 44 to 46, Allah declares, and if he, Muhammad, had fabricated against us some of the sayings, we would certainly have seized him by the right hand, then we would certainly have cut off his aorta. How did Muhammad die? He died going, I feel my aorta being cut. I gave a list of things that we certainly would find sick and repulsive. The story of Muhammad and Zainab, his adopted son's wife, that he sees her practically naked. His adopted son divorces her so that Muhammad can have her. Muhammad marries her. This caused a big scandal. People were really upset about this, according to the Muslim sources. They thought of it as on the level of incest. And the result was that Allah had to abolish adoption to make it so that this guy was never his adopted son. It didn't count in order to justify this. And with the Satanic Verses story is Muhammad, again, wants his tribe to accept his revelation. So he wants a revelation that's going to make his tribe convert to Islam. And then Satan gives him what he's looking for. Muhammad delivers this revelation promoting polytheism, saying you can pray to pagan goddesses now. But a little later, Muhammad came back and said that these verses, which he had delivered as part of the Quran, weren't really from God, they were from Satan. And he replaced them with the words we find in the Quran today. Now, if you wanted to invent a prophet and you wanted to make shirk, associating partners with Allah, the worst possible sin anyone could ever commit, would you portray your new prophet as a man who committed shirk and convinced the entire Muslim community of his time to commit shirk with him, and portray him as someone who couldn't tell the difference between a revelation from God and a revelation from Satan?
Before we put the nail in the coffin in the Prophet Muhammad, the sinless man that people want to claim that can do no wrong, when he is the biggest joke of any human being, let alone a prophet in the history of mankind, we're going to go to Deuteronomy chapter 13 that talks about false prophets. And it goes something like this. So, verse 1, it talks about, suppose a prophet or one who foretells by dreams should appear among you and show you a sign or a wonder, and the sign or wonder should come to pass concerning what he said to you, namely, let us follow other gods, gods whom you have not previously known, and let us serve them. You must not listen to the words of that prophet or dreamer, for the Lord your God will be testing you to see if you love him with all your mind and being. That being said, the children of Yahweh would know better not to follow any god from any prophet that is besides the true God Yahweh. The word Allah is something that we do not know. We are told not to follow things that we do not know. The term Allah is an Arabian word that came and originated from the Quran 600 to 700 years after the time of Christ. That being said, Satan knew he would have to carry his operation outside of where Christianity and Judaism was taking strong roots. That being said, in Arabia, where people don't really know of the word Yahweh, Satan decides to pay a visit to the Prophet Muhammad to give him revelations of which he believes are from God, but are truly from Satan himself. For Satan comes to deceive as an angel of light, and can appear as an angel of light. And through satanic deception and paganism, individuals that do not know of Yahweh's love for them, that do not know of Jesus' true love, that are not knowing and filled with the Holy Spirit to know of true love, joy, and peace, are filled with the teachings of Allah, of Satan, and paganism, circling around the Kaaba like the pagans do, kissing the black stone like the pagans do, being told 109 different times in their Quran they must kill the infidel, anyone who is a non-Muslim, anyone who is a Jew or a Christian, they must be put to death or we must take them to war. This is all just literally lies from the father of lies. In John chapter 10, verse 10, Satan comes to steal, kill, and destroy, and that's what he's doing to my brothers and sisters in humanity. But thank the Lord, the Holy Spirit's working in these countries that understand that Islam has some massive problems to it. And the internet is exposing that evil in real time. And millions are leaving Islam. Glory to the triune God. Stop me when I'm lying. You cannot stop the truth. Because Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life. Not Allah, who will only lead you to destruction.